Disproving Flat Earthing a $20 BAOFENG radio.
Recently, I've gotten a lot of flat earthers on my content, and quite frankly, it's a little disheartening because really you can disprove flat earth and prove that the earth is round using a BAOFENG. For this demonstration, you would need two types of radios. One, you would want a VHF-UHF transceiver, such as a BAOFENG, and you would want an HF transceiver, such as a CB radio or a ham radio that talks anything lower than 30 megahertz. And of course, I have a notepad for demonstration. You see, radio waves, especially anything above VHF, travel in a very straight line all around the antenna. And these waves will go on literally forever. Forever until they hit an object. Sometimes that object is a building or the ocean or, in the best case scenario, another antenna. In principle, what this means is that radio waves can only talk to who it can see physically. Meaning that once it is behind another object, you will no longer be able to see or hear that radio wave. Now, the way that HF radios work is a little bit different. They can bounce off of the ionosphere and land back at an antenna, even if there is something, let's say, a building in the way. This is known as DX or skip for those CBers out there. And as I described before, radio waves will go on for literally forever. So whenever you talk, yes, there are waves that are just going into space for literally ever. They just are super low power and will be extremely hard to pick up and receive. So how does all of this combine together to prove that the Earth is not flat and is indeed round? Well, for demonstration purposes, here are the buildings. Here is the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, and here is Mount Everest. Burj Khalifa is 2,717 feet tall. In theory, you should be able to talk to everybody in the world from your BAOFENG radio. As if the Earth was flat, you would physically be talking to everybody in the world. But then you can say, well, what about mountains and peaks and stuff like that? Well, that is where the Mount Everest comes into play. Mount Everest is the tallest peak in the world. You will not see anything above it radio-wise. Meaning, if the Earth was flat, once you got to this point right here with an antenna, you would physically talk literally all across the world. But we obviously know that isn't true. Otherwise, people would be jamming radio stations all along the world whenever they get to the tip of the mountain. And obviously, we're not hearing people on Mount Everest using little walkie-talkies on our BAOFENG radios. No, sadly, because of the curvature of the Earth, eventually the mountain does disappear over the curvature, causing it to no longer reach radio waves, specifically VHF and UHF radio waves. And I do understand that most flat earthers are not in it because of the actual science, but because of distrust of the government, which is okay. I distrust the government too, but these are actual facts about how radio theory works and everything along those lines. There's a few things in this world that are concrete and factual, and physics is one of them.